Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. Plenty of baseball to break down from the brilliant baseball mind of one Donnie Rightside here in this third and final hour. 11 total games, DRS, on this Thursday slate. Some teams ending out midweek slates, the finale of a 4-game set. Others beginning a long weekend series like in Boston between the Rays and the Red Sox, and a doubleheader today in Baltimore as well, with some early baseball in the afternoon hours coming our way on this Thursday. One final weekend set remains for everybody after this Thursday before we get to the All-Star break. We'll have the prop perspective from one Tom Vecchio later on to close out the show as well. And DRS, are you ready? Drum roll, please. Summer League action in full tonight, starting in Sin City.
Yeah, VJ Edgecombe, we probably won't see him till, I guess, Christmas at this point right now.
Brother.
With the worst thumb injury we've ever seen in the history of professional sports. You know, it's interesting to me, too, because we get excited because basketball is basketball. Like, a lot of us are hoopers out here. Like, we like to just watch it, and the NBA season ended, but you see the draft. There's a lot of superstars.
For sure.
The Summer League is sort of that creation of, you know what? Extra content over the summer we can dip into and have fun with. And the NBA takes it in a different direction. Like, yeah, our stars are there and Flag's going to play tonight, and then he never will play again. Like, you know, these guys are working out. They're playing pickup games all the time. The fact that you get your rookies there, it's like, ooh, they can only play in one game. Like, why is that though? Like, are we so afraid? So you're going to get your legs taken out. You can get that anywhere. Like Paul George, snapped his leg in half trying to make Team USA. Like basketball, you get injured at certain times. Come on now. Yeah. Jeez.
We got 7 games today in Las Vegas. We have seen the start of some Summer League action. It begins in Utah, the California Classic as well. But this is the start of the real 2K25 Summer League, whatever they coin it. This is the Summer League where teams are crowned champions and all of that good stuff. But we've got some marquee events on this opening Thursday in Las Vegas there on the Strip that we will break down for you with some big players playing throughout this Thursday night in Las Vegas, including that generational talent and the number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg, including the guy that went right behind him to San Antonio, Dylan Harper out of Rutgers, and Flagg's teammate and best buddy, Con Knippel, as DRS mentioned. No number 3 overall pick in VJ Edgecombe, at least for tonight's Summer League opener in Las Vegas. Who's going to have the best Summer League? We wanted to ask you that and Fade the Public. At SportsGrid on Twitter, which rookie will perform the best in Summer League in Las Vegas? Rookie being a interesting distinction, or a necessary one at that, as we'll highlight for the Mavs Summer League opener against the LA Lakers and who is on that roster for the Lake Show in just a little bit. The 3 options listed: Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Con Knippel, or other. Not a ton of votes here, DRS, sadly, in our Fade the Public poll, but most of the public, and how could you fault them, more than 53% of the votes backing Cooper Flagg to have the best Summer League out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's probably going to be right at that point. But again, how many times are we going to see him? Because teams technically, do you remember Victor Wembanyama comes in, was terrible his first game, and everyone's like, that guy's a bust. Can't even believe we bought into the hype. Played well game number 2. It's like, okay, that's enough. That's enough for the show. We'll see you in the regular season. I just wish we got to see these guys play more, because the question asks basically who's going to be good over a 3 to 4 game stretch when there only be a 1 game stretch for some of these guys the way it's set up. But hear me out on this, Ben. You know, we can improve the Summer League. Have you ever seen an AAU tournament or an AAU competition? And it's whoa, we got multiple games going on at once. Let's just say we go out to Las Vegas. Allegiant Stadium is there, Ben. We open that bad boy and we go 5 courts side by side by side by side. But hear me out on this. Oh, it's too much action. If you're there, you can keep your eyes on all of those games. But also, you have the channel package for the Summer League that gives you a separate court that you can focus on and the teams that you want to watch, and you can flip back and forth anytime you want. Like, wouldn't that be fun? Like, hey, by the way, 12 to 2 o'clock, 5 games are going to play at once here that you can all watch. You can bet, and if you want to watch one of those, like golf, right? You say, you know what? On a Sunday, you can watch the group you want, but everybody else is playing at the same time where you can enjoy it and see the scores and stuff like that. Just a little ad, like, maybe it doesn't have to be every day, but one day, like on a Saturday, you could sell that arena. You could sell Legion Stadium out for 5 games playing at one time.
No, normally, Commissioner Rightside, I do not agree with all of the updates that you would like to make as the commissioner in various posts around the sporting landscape. That one, though, I don't mind. And one of the reasons that I would say I don't mind is because we have 7 games today on this Thursday in Las Vegas. Yeah. You might be thinking, though, 7 games, simultaneous starts beginning at 3:30 p.m. and spread sporadically throughout the afternoon and evening hours.
Yep.
Yeah, they're played in 2 different venues. Thomas and Mack, where UNLV plays their basketball, and the Cox Pavilion. So we've got simultaneous games. And if you wanted to watch all that Summer League action, you're going to have to look in various spots for it. Now, a lot of this action will be televised on NBA TV and ESPN Plus, and we've got a couple of games, DRS, in prime time on big ESPN as well. But I don't mind the idea of a Summer League tournament type feel inside Allegiant Stadium, the home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, you might be onto something, and it might be a little bit noisy picking up the audio feeds of other games, but you could still have that camera focused on whatever game needed to air on national TV, which includes tonight Cooper Flagg's NBA Summer League debut, the #1 overall pick, and that generational talent for the Dallas Mavericks, as the Mavs will take on the LA Lakers. Should be a star-studded event inside the Thomas and Mack Center. And Cooper Flagg versus Bronny James is how it is being built. Lower bowl tickets going for $650 already, DRS. Courtside tickets, $2,500, a historic amount of money needed to get into the Mavs Lakers tonight at the Thomas and Mack Center.
Now, does that mean like one guy posted up, I got tickets courtside, $2,500, take it or leave it. One guy in the lower bowl posted up at $650, but tickets are going for much less. I can't imagine that. You're going to want to show up to that. And knowing that, oh, by the way, Flag, cut a little bit wrong, felt a little bit something in his ankle. He's not going to play tonight. That can't be those price points at that point. Come on. Who's paying for that for a summer league here? You wouldn't pay that for a regular season game. Come on.
So, Donnie, I would say it's probably due to the idea that there should be some NBA stars. Mike Bronny's father, LeBron James, be in attendance and making it a little bit more difficult to get courtside. How much would I have to pay Donnie Rightside to attend this Summer League game in Las Vegas? Not how much would I have to pay you? How much would Donnie Rightside pay to go to the Lakers Mavs tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time at the Thomas and Mack Center?
$25 a ticket to go in there, check things out, see how it's going down. I would.
Okay, fair enough. $25. I'd probably go 50 at most for me to check out Bronny and Cooper. By the way, Flag's points prop tonight, 18.5. Bronny's number, 10.5. A lot of veteran Super League, Summer League talent for LA. Dalton Connect will be there as well. The Lakers, a 3.5-point favorite against the Mavs. Again, we brought you the update. No VJ Edgecombe for the Sixers tonight. That's the nightcap on national TV on ESPN. Left thumb sprain after his sensational Summer League debut in Utah over the weekend. That's a 76er, man. Already missing multiple games, missing more games than he has played in his Summer League career.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Embiid ever played in the Summer League. I think Markelle Fultz started his soldier, whatever injury he had in the Summer League, and Ben Simmons stepped on a basketball.
That was my Markelle Fultz impersonation.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
$11 games on this Thursday around Major League Baseball. We'll break them all down from the brilliant baseball mind of one Donnie Rightside over this final hour here on TEL, the prop perspective with Tom Vecchio coming a little bit later on in this third and final hour. DRS, let's start with a doubleheader in Baltimore between the O's and the Mets. Yesterday rained out, some inclement weather there at Camden Yards. We'll play two today to end out this midweek set between the Amazons and the O's. New York won the opener, by the way, in extras, rallying from down 4 runs, two-run bombs in the 8th. Francisco Lindor, then Pete Alonso, and then Juan Soto delivering the RBI game winner in that 10th inning. First game of our doubleheader. David Peterson gets the start for the Mets, -142. New York booked as that road favorite. Uncle Chuck, Charlie Morton on the other side for the O's. Total to start things off at Camden, 9.5. 12:06 p.m. Eastern time, the scheduled first pitch for the opener of 2 today in Baltimore. What's the play for that first game?
By the way, Charlie Morton's been really good. I actually have him as the number one pitcher on the card today, just based on xFIP. He's got a 3.15 xFIP number. He's got an ERA of 2.76, and his xFIP minus is the best on the card at a 76. You might not think that here, but his last 90 batters that he's faced, how about an ISO against 0.75 and a weighted on base percentage of 296. Great K rate, low walk rate. What's not to like about that? Now, I do like the lineup today for the New York Mets, particularly in game number 1, but the focus for me would be on the pitching matchup here from David Peterson going up against that lineup here for the Baltimore Orioles, because Peterson also has been pretty solid on the card. But if you are looking at the offense, they hit right-handed pitching much better than left-handed pitching, particularly over the past 30 days. So the advantage in game number 1 just might be an under, but game number 2, that's a completely different scenario based on what we think is going to take place here with the starting pitchers in that game. Game number 1, not as excited as game number 2. Certainly I am.
Odds listed, by the way, for that second game. The O's a slight favorite at -116. Total up the double digits, 10.5. It's still warm. It is still humid. They hope to complete those 2 games this week in Baltimore to end out the midweek set. DRS, as you break down a doubleheader, it's oftentimes difficult to figure out what the pitching matchup is going to be for that second game, especially if it is a getaway game like it is for the Mets. And it's a little bit difficult at times to even know who's going to play in terms of that lineup outside of what the pitching matchup is going to be. Let's go to Minneapolis up next. It's the Twins and the Cubs. Some day baseball a little bit after 1 p.m. Eastern time in the Twin Cities. Minnesota has taken the opening 2 games of this week. The Cubbies, though, a road favorite today, hoping to avoid that sweep in Minnesota. Total 9.5. Will the Cubbies do just that? Avoid the sweep today in the series finale?
I have a good chance to do that, but if I'm looking for a side here, I'd rather just go with the total as opposed to either one of these teams, the Cubs and or the Twins. You look at the Cubs entering into today, last 30 days against right-handed pitching, they've done extremely well. I mean, talk about Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, Bush, and also Carson Kelly. Extremely high numbers there on ISOs and weighted on base percentages, but also what we love as well, low K percentages. And the reason we bring that up is Chris Paddock is on the mound. One of the guys who you thought coming up through the Major League Baseball system would have been a high strikeout guy. That's not the case. On the season, 70% K rate. That's bad. The last 30 days, it drops to a 14.7, and left-handed batters are getting the best of them, which means Happ, Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Michael Bush are going to be front and center with legitimate chance to get RBI today. If we flip it over to the other side and take a look at that matchup, Colin Ray, not a great pitcher. He gets crushed by left-handed batters, and also a decent lineup here for Minnesota. But here's the question mark. If the best batter in the lineup, if we were just looking at the roster itself, is Byron Buxton. As we said already, the guy got hit with a pitch. That usually means you probably get the day off, specifically an afternoon game. I need to see that starting lineup because if Buxton is out, he's got a 389 ISO and a 451 weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching over the past month. That's an absolute must to have in your lineup if you want to back that in. So if we're just looking from a lineup perspective, if you remove Buxton, you're probably giving the nod to the Chicago Cubs. But I still think Buxton or no Buxton, you probably should be able to get that total, which is why it's listed at 9.5.
Speaking of avoiding a sweep, that's what the Mariners are hoping to do today in the Bronx against the Yankees. Marcus Stroman back on the bump for the Pinstripes. It is a dead even pick'em right here, right now, DRS. Minus 108 on both sides. The Yanks minus 108. The Mariners sending out Brian Wu, also minus 108. What happens in this series finale tonight up at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, Derek Carty was on us earlier today, and he had the same feeling I do. Brian Wu's a better pitcher here than Marcus Stroman. That's usually where you win the battle, specifically if you just have a line that's roughly a pick'em. 78-degree temperatures in the Bronx today. More of a crosswind from right foul pole to left foul pole. I do like the lineup that the Yankees have out there today, but you're looking look at Wu's last 60 days, an 84 xFIP minus, a 2.43 ERA, and a 3.47 xFIP number. That is very solid. Stroman, really a mixed bag, trying to fight his way back into Major League Baseball. I do lean with the Mariners today because I like the pitching matchup better on the Mariners side than I do the Yankees.
Yeah, when you look at it, DRS, you saw the minus 120 initially for Brian Wu and Seattle. Stroman should provide a help to this Yankees starting staff, but I think it's a good look taking a gander at the M's to avoid the sweep today up in Yankee Stadium. By the way, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh both hit a home run in the opening game of this set on Tuesday night. Neither a home run yesterday. Aaron Judge, a couple of RBIs, courtesy of a double. It was Jazz Chisholm hitting 2 home runs for the Yanks yesterday, plus 164, the price on Aaron Judge. To hit a long ball, plus 176. The price on Cal Raleigh to hit a home run, Jazz Chisholm, at plus 330. DRS, the Miami Marlins saw their franchise record 11-game road winning streak come to a close yesterday in Cincinnati. Now they're trying to pick up yet another road win to end out their 4-game midweek set against Cincy. When you take a look at these odds, the Reds, a home favorite at the Great American Ballpark. What do you like?
I got to tell you, maybe runs in this game. You see the 9.5, no surprise. You need 10 runs here in Great American Ballpark, and I certainly think they can get that. You take a look at Nick Lodolo. He actually comes in with good statistics, a 91 xFIP minus, an ERA of under 4, and a 3.68 xFIP number. But he is a left-handed pitcher. If you look at the players that get a hold of him, they're the right-handed batters. His last 77 right-handed batters that he faced, even though he has a high K rate and a low walk rate, a 300 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 381. The expectations for every batter in the lineup today to be from the right-hand side, that's for the Marlins today. So maybe you have a plus advantage there. One of those guys I always love to fade, Cal Quantrill. Come on now. You take a look at that Reds lineup, they should be able to hit him. We might be able to get some runs at dinner time in Cincinnati today, Ben.
The finale of a 4-game set. The Marlins took the first 2. I need my Reds to get to 80 wins. They've got 47 right now. More MLB breakdowns next.
Cooper Flag against Bronny James feels like Mike DeCourcy against Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. I mean, let's be real about this. We're talking about a generational prospect in Cooper Flag, and LeBron's kid who averaged 5.5 points in his 1 year of Division I basketball. I'm not saying LeBron is a poor player, but I don't see him as an equal attraction or an equal.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Things you have to look at is what the team has the following day, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. You know, a lot of the things I like to attack is you see these extra inning games, these games get drawn out, these bullpens get worn, or if someone gets shelled the first 3 innings and they got to go to the pen, early, that's a good spot to kind of hop in the middle of the next game. You got a tired bullpen, right? You try and take advantage there, maybe with an over, maybe with the money line. You're getting plus money on a favorite at that point.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Piece of an interesting couple of weeks in California. If you recall, I think it was 2 weeks ago, language was inserted into a bill that would outlaw or ban sweepstakes casinos and sports betting, which of course we've seen lots of that happen this year. So California is an interesting market because, as you've said, there is no legal online casino. There is no legal online sports betting.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Devin Booker had to run the point when Chris Paul was hurt. And we're like, Devin Booker's a point guard. Devin Booker's not a point guard. Neither is Jalen Green. So I need to know, once you get rid of Bradley Beal, who cannot be on that team, who is the point guard? And then I think as a sixth man, I actually don't mind it with Jalen Green.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So we have plenty of midweek series ending out today. We've got 20 clubs in action today around Major League Baseball, 11 total games because of the doubleheader in Baltimore, and a few spots, DRS, where a prolonged 4-game weekend series is set to begin. That includes inside Fenway Park between the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. Should be a really good one for two teams right now, squarely in position in the AL wildcard race to be a playoff team. The Red Sox and the Mariners technically tied for that third and final AL wildcard spot. If it were to go to Boston at this moment, the three AL wildcard teams would all be from the same division. Yankees, Rays, Red Sox, all from the American League East. Boston beat up on the Colorado Rockies this week, plating 29 runs in total in 3 games. The Red Sox have won 6 straight. Will they continue those winning ways today against the Rays in Fenway? Tampa, an ever so slight favorite. Taj Bradley gets the start for the Rays. On the other side for the Sox, it is Walker Buehler. Total is 9. How does this American League East divisional duel begin tonight in Beantown?
We'll get to Boston in just a moment here, but I do want to focus on the lineup here for the Tampa Bay Rays. It has been very good this season, which is great. A little bit downturn there in Detroit, but bounced back yesterday with a solid performance. That solid performance should continue today, I'm being honest. Now, if we looked at the temperatures or the Colorado Rockies series versus the Boston Red Sox in Boston, it was really good. It was 80-degree temperatures. The winds were blowing out. That's a small ballpark, and my goodness, was Boston capitalizing on that. 67 degrees at first pitch. It's not like we're getting back to the early April days of, 52 degrees and a wind blowing in. It's still going to be okay. But the problem here for Boston is not that the weather is dropping, it's that Walker Buehler is on the mound. That's not something that you're supposed to say when you acquired Walker Buehler. Like, hey, this guy's going to get back to his form that we saw him with the Dodgers. He's horrendous. You look at his last 60 days, a 133 xFIP minus, an ERA of close to 8, an xFIP of 5.43. You look at his last 30 days and 115 batters he's faced, a 219 ISO against combined, which is terrible, and a 409 weighted on base percentage. Walker Buehler striking out under 15% of the batters that he's faced. This should be another bullseye target moment for the Tampa Bay Bats. Now, if you look at Tampa Bay side on the mound themselves, it's Taj Bradley. He himself hasn't had a very good season. If you look at his numbers analytically, it's not bad, Ben. It's a 92 xFIP minus and a 3.78 xFIP. His ERA is at a 5.05. So he's getting a little bit unlucky, but he's not striking out the rate that we thought he would have throughout his Major League Baseball career. Matter of fact, over the past 30 days, Ben, it's listed at 17%. His ISO numbers are decent to right-handed batters. You got to like that. But also, sometimes you're just betting based upon what you saw. Are we thinking that the Red Sox are going from 10 runs going down to 1 run? It's not Sandy Koufax on the mound that's reincarnated out here. It's Taj Bradley. The guy can be hit. So I look at the total and say, there's a better chance this total goes over. Now, if you said, Don, you got to pick a side, it would be Tampa Bay because Taj is a better pitcher than Walker Buehler. But that lineup is hot. They're at home. They're ready. Nothing's changed. Like sometimes, Ben, you look at a team like, boy, they were hot in Oakland. Wonder how they do, or hot in Sacramento when they come home. They've been home. They've been cruising. They're in the comfortable spot right now, the Boston Red Sox at the plate.
Masataka Yoshida back yesterday for the Sox as well. 3 of 4 at the dish and an RBI. Roman Anthony, 2 of 4. Carlos Narvaez, who might actually be the best performing rookie this year for the Red Sox. A home run. Boston, 29 runs, at least scoring 9 in all 3 games against the Rockies this week. They beat up on the Nationals, swept Washington this weekend, beat up on the Rockies, swept Colorado. When you play the bad teams, you need to take advantage. How about a divisional mate slightly in front of you in the AL wild card race? Baseball is a quirky game, DRS, as we know. Yesterday, the Blue Jays, winners of 10 straight, hottest team in baseball, go into Chicago, hefty favorite against the White Sox. Adrian Hauser deals, snaps that 10-game winning streak for the Jays. The Guardians had dropped 10 in a row entering their midweek set this week against Houston, and the Astros were the best team since the beginning of June 1st, entering this week 24-8. So what happened over the previous 3 nights in Houston? The Guardians won all 3. A divisional duel starts tonight on the south side between the Guardians and the White Sox, a final 4-game set over the weekend entering the All-Star break. What gives tonight between Chicago and Cleveland?
And both of these teams really aren't very good at the plate. Both pitchers here aren't very good. You see that 8.5 total, 78-degree temperatures, slight wind blowing in from right field. But usually it's like, okay, maybe the Cleveland batters have woken up. I still can't trust that. But even if they've woken up, the Chicago White Sox never wake up at the plate at this point. So 2 bad pitchers. These 2 teams, I think, will fumble around today. I just go under. I don't think we get 9 runs between these 2 ball clubs, and we'll leave it at that. Not a great game. Not a great lineup. I'll lean under. Ugly game, 4-3. You take your chips and you go home with a win.
8.5 is that total tonight in Chicago between the Sox and the Guardians. Again, Cleveland dropped 10 straight, played the Astros and swept them. Baseball is wild. More of it next.
No sense. I say, you crank that Soldier Boy, right? You Darvish back on the mound. Haven't seen this guy in a minute right now. Yeah, man, crank it, man. Get it going up. Hit the high. Yeah, let's go. Crank that Soldier Boy up here. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. That was big back then. Where were you? Senior high school? Or maybe even in grade school?
Bar mitzvah slate. In the bar mitzvah slate each and every weekend. The young Benny Steve was out there hitting.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Gwynn had 107 career at-bats against Greg Maddux. Never struck out once.
Oh,
that's nuts. In 107 times. 107. Cam, if you took the modern player and said, are you going to face Maddux 107 times in a row? Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and these guys, they'd strike out like 62 times type thing.
Exactly.
It'd be like 80 times. It'd be like whiffing.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Scrounge out a couple of quarters from under the couch to go trade for somebody who actually makes some money. I don't think that he would actually do that. That's not in Hal's style the last couple of years, especially in season. I saw they signed that Heimer Candelario, who the Reds released. That's more their style, going the discount aisle as opposed to trading for someone who's actually having a huge year like Suarez.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, That's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. It's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
We continue breaking down our 10-game, or actually 11-game, but 10 different sites Thursday slate in Major League Baseball. But quickly, DRS, just an update from Wimbledon. Women's semifinals on this Thursday. Number one seed Aryna Sabalenka forces a third set against the American Amanda Anisimova, who took the opening set, pretty tightly contested second set. Sabalenka did respond with a 6-4 win in the second. We are now into set number 3, that third and final. Sabalenka took the opening game. It is 40-all here in the second. Sabalenka back to a minus 550 favorite as she is on serve, trying to take a commanding 2-0 lead in the third and final set. But it did seem as though we might have one American into a final at Wimbledon, Amanda Anisimova, but she has dropped that second set. Just the update there. Maybe we'll get a Scottish Open update at the end of this segment. All right, we'll continue in Major League Baseball, though. What?
Rory?
You want it right
How's he
now?
doing
All right,
today?
I'll get to it.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
Here we go.
Get to it.
Whoa, why are you showing me the ISCO Championship when I look at PGA
Seamus?
Tour? That doesn't seem right.
How much?
PGA.
How about Seamus?
Scotty
Anybody named
Scheffler is
Seamus
still
in
the
the league?
favorite at 4-1. There's got to be a Seamus power there. You got to believe that we've got
We got
at least...
Echevarria's in first. Sepp Straka's up there. Look at Jake Knapp, 6 under
Yeah,
par.
Sepp
You got
Straka,
guys
Jake Knapp
fortunate
looking
today.
good. Couple of guys you probably don't see that playing on the DP
Scheffler's
World
3
Tour.
under.
Scheffler's 3
Now, let's
under.
see.
Ludwig Ober
Yeah, I'm
3
go-
under. Sam Burns 3 under. I do not see Rory at this moment.
Yeah, I'm
Let's go
scrolling
hunt it down. Of course.
Yeah, we're scrolling down.
Rory hoping for
my
a good
goodness.
week.
Where you at?
This-
Wow, even through 6.
Well, it just started.
Wow. Yeah.
Even through 6. A lot of golf remaining there for Rory McIlroy. This in North Berwick, as we have known, on the Isles of Scotland at the Renaissance Club. Scottish Open co-sanctioned event with the PGA Tour before our 4th and final major of the week. That's the Open Championship next week in Northern Ireland near Rory's hometown of Hollywood at Royal Portrush. First Open, by the way, DRS, in nearly 7 decades in Northern Ireland at Royal Portrush back in 2019. And who took it home? That would be Rory's best friend in Shane Lowry, the Irishman. So that is what we have for you in our updates outside of baseball. Let's get back to the bigs, ending out some midweek sets around MLB. The Nationals snapping a 4-game slide last night, hammering the Cardinals 8-2. Rubber match today under the arch in St. Louis. The Cards a home favorite, minus 142. That updated number. Over-under stands at 9. Who takes the series today in St. Louis?
I don't know. It's an interesting matchup, too, because Miles Mikolas has been a little bit better over the past 60 days than what his numbers technically are if you're just looking on the surface. Like a 5.57 over 60 days. That guy stinks. Get him out of baseball. But his xFIP number is right around average at a 104. xFIP minus, I should say. His xFIP is a little bit high at 4.24, but there's no denying. Like, you can hit the ball off Mikolas. Look at his power numbers against. Like 116 batters that he's faced, been a 382 ISO against, and a 438 weighted on base percentage. Lefties, he can't get them out. So you know who you go back with when we started the show? Abrams, Wood, and then Nathaniel Lowe in the middle of that lineup. If you take those 3 guys, they're probably going to do damage. And understand this, too. 86-degree temperatures out there in St. Louis with a light wind blowing out to left field. So if I'm looking at anything from this game from a Nationals perspective, maybe it's a team total, but Lowe, Wood, and Abrams certainly make the most sense in that lineup here. If you go against Michael Soroka, he's a right-handed pitcher. He can't get lefties out. Donovan pops up. Burleson pops up. Gorman pops up. Newbar pops up. The more I look at this game, that 9 might be in some danger today because you have some power matchups and also just fading the ballpark atmosphere, which means 86 degrees. Don't care who's pitching. That's hitting weather in St. Louis today. So there's a couple good lineups today, which I'm glad we went over this game. 7:45 start tonight. Wait for those lineups to come out because left-handed batters should roll tonight across the board.
That includes James Wood, RBI number 69. Nice. Yesterday, 7th most in Major League Baseball. Not many bright spots for Washington, but a few young studs in the organization. We saw Mackenzie Gore get the win yesterday on the bump. Dylan Cruz, a high draft pick a few years ago. And James Wood has been lights out at the plate this year. Where are the pieces of optimism, DRS, for the Atlanta Braves? Well, yesterday, Ronald Acuna Jr. going deep twice. He now has 11 this year. The Braves picked up a victory in Sacramento against the Athletics, trying to win the series and the rubber match today. Spencer Strider gets the start against the A's. It's a -188 price in favor of Atlanta in California's capital. Total stands at 10. What's the play tonight in Sacktown?
Which is incredible. That line is at 10. And Spencer Strider's on the mound. Has he been the Spencer Strider that we know and love previously? No, he isn't. But Spencer Strider still has the ability to get strikeouts. ERA last 60 days is around a 4. You don't love that. But his xFIP number, very manageable at 3.57. Now, it's supposed to be 95-degree temperatures tonight in Sacramento, which the heat
95?
is on. That's what it says here on my thing.
In Sacramento?
Goodness. Sacramento.
All right,
I'm saying 95 out here. Let me see LA today. LA's 80 degrees it's showing tonight, and San Diego is showing 74 degrees. But for some reason, Sacramento, is that I guess inland traps the heat a little bit more? Is that what we look at?
Sacramento's not as close to the sea in Northern California as obviously when you think about San Francisco or the A's former home of Oakland, but still like Northern California-ish at this time of year, not necessarily known for its heat. That comes late August, September, October. So that is a hot day in Sacramento.
Yeah, that's what we're showing here up on the deck. But here's what we got. J.P. Sears, the left-handed pitcher on the mound. You saw what you loved yesterday about the Atlanta Braves. Finally getting back to basics there, hitting some home runs out of the – I think they had 5 home runs yesterday. That could continue today. Now, J.P. Sears, if you just look at his on-the-surface numbers, ISO against, pretty good over the past 30 days. Weighted on base percentage, pretty good. Decent K rate. So, okay, he's a lefty. It probably throws you off. Here's the problem. If you had 5 home runs yesterday in that tiny ballpark, you take a look at the ground ball percentage for him, it's only 20%. That means 80% of the time that ball is either a line drive or a fly ball, which is doomsday territory when you play out in Sacramento in that tiny ballpark. Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, Austin Riley Murphy. Now, you look at the lineup for the Braves. It isn't very good over the past 30 days with statistics. So this is one of those games where you sort of bend the rules a little bit with a pitcher with an ERA over the past 60 days of around 6 and a fly ball pitcher. Why can't they get hot again and stay there tonight and hit home runs? There's also across multiple sportsbook spends, you can bet like over 1.5 home runs for the Atlanta Braves. So you go, they only scored 4 runs. Well, if 2 of them come by home run, you win that. Doesn't care who wins the game or even if they get a total. I think that ball might be flying out tonight for the Atlanta Braves, even if the statistics don't necessarily show that, to be honest.
So maybe my Northern California, Sacramento area weather, not necessarily as strong. They say averages this year around the low 90s, but 101 during the afternoon hours. Hot
Is that today?
In Sacramento. What?
Oof. That's today, about 100 beans? Woo.
Yeah, 100 beans.
5 balls.
Could be pretty hot.
Wow. My
let's go back to Southern California in Anaheim, where we round out a 4-game set this week between the Angels and the Rangers. Basically a pick'em tonight between the Halos and the Rangers. Total 9.5. What's the play?
Yeah, look at these numbers today that we're getting, guys. We're not talking about Coors Field. Like, it 10s all over the place. You're needing 11 runs to cash in tickets. Kohanowitz isn't a very good pitcher. He's actually a little bit better than he was to start the season, but still struggling with lefties and righties alike. And you look at that Rangers lineup starting to wake up. And finally, we're getting to games where you look at it and say, Corey Seager. That's a guy you should have on your card. His last 80 at-bats against right-handed pitching, Ben, a 317 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 428. You know the second-best batter in this lineup is? Not Marcus Semien, who actually has pretty decent numbers against righties. It's actually Wyatt Langford. His last 50 at-bats, a 239 ISO and a weighted on-base percentage of 375. Let's go over to the Los Angeles Angels because they look really good as well. Mike Trout, a couple of home runs last night. Can he stay high? Patrick Corbin's on the mound. You always can hit this guy. 80-degree temperatures, a wind blowing out. I mean, again, you're not getting discounts. These games probably usually posted 8.5 and 9s. Now you're needing 11 basically to cash in tickets. But the numbers are there for both of these ball clubs to hit tonight in Anaheim.
DRS, 4 games this week in Anaheim. First 3, we have seen at least 11 runs. Last night, the Angels winning 11-8. Again, the Rangers in danger of losing this series against LA. Not a great look. Our final spot of the day, San Diego, the Padres and the D-backs. We'll ask Tom Vecchio about that game next.
That is the idea. It really is for in-game live. Have you said it? The home team, who's a double-digit or close to it anyway, favorite, and get off to a bad start and actually have them trailing by 5, 6, 7 to the point where you get it at pick 'em. And I don't know how many times. I'd like to know a stat of how many times a team that's been favored by double digits, trailed by double digits, and actually won the game. I bet it's a lot.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
You've got issues up and down here. The bullpen is falling apart, to put it nicely. And have you seen the schedule for the Yankees for the rest of the month of July here? We have Seattle, then we have the Cubs, then you have Atlanta, then you have Toronto again in Toronto. That really didn't go all that well this week. And then you have Philadelphia and Tampa. Good luck to the Yankees in July here.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Time for the Blue Jays to really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking into being in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. Like, it's really bad. Now, the past couple weeks, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that were in household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
TV Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid live right here for the prop perspective on this Thursday to help us round out our 3 hours on TEL. Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time. We've got 11 games around Major League Baseball and plenty to get to with you. I always enjoy breaking down the MLB slate with the two hosts of Pro Baseball Today each and every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live right here on the Grid.
That's right. Thanks for having me. We got a lot to get to today. Really interesting slate because there's so many different weather factors. You guys were just touching on it when it comes to not Oakland, but Sacramento, which is going to be pushing to 100 degrees today, even though Strider's on the mound. We got a lot to get to.
Lot to get to, Vecchio. A lot to get to. And if you will humor us, we got to 10 of the 11 games on today's slate. 9 of the 10 spots. We have a baseball game being contested with our 18 of 20 clubs, if you will. The one game we did not hit on for a handicapping approach for the prop perspective on this Thursday. The fourth and final game this week between the Padres and the D-backs out in San Diego. Arizona has taken 2 of the first 3 in this divisional duel. The Snakes, a road favorite tonight to win the series in this 4-game set against the Padres. What do you like tonight out in San Diego between the Padres and the D-backs?
You know, realistically, I think both of these teams are pretty evenly matched when it's all said and done. We can make the case, Donnie, I know that, we don't like Randy Vasquez, right? We don't think he's a good pitcher. He has a super low strikeout rate. His underlying metrics are terrible. But again, if these teams are evenly matched, you're going to give me plus money on one of them. I kind of just want to take the plus money. I think Erod is the better pitcher. If I had to choose, I would choose Erod over Randy Vasquez, but it's not like he's dramatically better when we're working with a Cy Young candidate on the other side. So I don't mind a little bit of scoring, and just give me the plus money with the Padres money line.
Yeah, it's crazy because we talk about these pitchers all the time. Like yesterday, it's like, okay, Quintana's on the mound. The guy stinks, and yet he always is really good. The Tyler Andersons of the world, the slippery left-handed pitchers that somehow get guys out, happens. But, Tom, we got a couple games on the card tonight, specifically, as we said, on the West Coast with high totals. Like, Ben and I were going over the games, and it's like the pitchers aren't that good. The batters should hit today, but you're not getting any discounts. Like, when you look at that game, let's just say in Sacramento, even though Atlanta doesn't have great numbers, it's almost like I'm just pressing the button on Atlanta tonight. They had 5 home runs last night, a fly ball pitcher today, 90 degrees at first pitch. Like, don't you just have to take the Braves again tonight in some sort of way? RBIs, hits, home runs, team totals?
I think so. So I'm seeing the live number for the Braves now, which has jumped up to minus 186 compared to that, number from, which is obviously a pretty big jump from minus 150, 155, whatever it might be. But again, it has to be like when we're looking at JP Sears, like a 51% fly ball rate this year, and we're 90, 95, 98, 100, whatever it ends up being. And we got a little bit of wind blowing out in this park specifically. I think the Braves have to be the answer. Now, the Braves have to be the answer from a team total, a total bases, an RBI, take 2 or 3 players, whatever it might be. I don't want to lay the minus 186. The Braves have legitimately not been good. We saw that in the first game of the series, getting blown out. Now they came to life yesterday. Again, the Athletics aren't good, so we expect teams just to score against them in general. So I don't like the Braves' money line. But the game total I love going over 10. The fact that we get a flat 10 on it is great before 10.5. And then dive into the props once the lineups comes out. You want to go Acuna, Olsen, Riley, some type of HRR or RBIs. I like it.
5.5, by the way, that specific team total for Atlanta, if you want to focus on that side of the equation. Vecchio, some day baseball today to end out some midweek sets. That includes in Minneapolis. The Twins have taken the opening 2 games of this midweek series against the Cubbies. Chicago now clinging to just a 1.5 lead in the National League Central above the surging Milwaukee Brewers. Chicago, an ever so slight favorite today in the Twin Cities to avoid the sweep. Will the Cubs do that? And if so, who contributes offensively?
I do think the Cubs come away with the win. I like them on the money line today. I was on them yesterday. I don't think David Festa is a good pitcher. He comes away with the win. I think the same thing today with Chris Paddock on the mound for the Twins. So I like the Cubs money line. I also like going to Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, the All-Star now, going for 2+ total bases. Looking back at some of his recent game logs, we're seeing an 0 for 4 here, 0 for 3, whatever it might be. But even if we look just last night, we're seeing 2 batted balls at 103 and 105 miles exit velocity, and they're outs. We could dig into some of the numbers, but like the easy way to say is it's baseball. Like that just stuff happens. Like he is smoking the ball right now. He's just not getting hits. So we got some nice hitting weather. I'm not going to say it's fantastic, but it is in the 80s. We got a little bit of wind. Chris Paddock is not a good pitcher. He's an over 5 xFIP versus lefties specifically, allowing 1.50 home runs per 9. You give me PCA at a minus 120 price. Sign me up.
I'll tell you, usually signing people up for the game 2s of doubleheaders without seeing game number 1s is lunacy. But I got to tell you, game number 1 is intriguing between the Mets and Baltimore. But game number 2 at 5:05, Hagenman versus Sugano. Like I was lining up the Mets yesterday as maybe my favorite lineup because of how bad Sugano's been. Now we have 2 pitchers and maybe 2 bullpen games at a 10 to 10.5, depending where you're shopping at, Tom. I think I really like that Mets and Baltimore Orioles game number 2 today.
Yeah, I think so. I'm seeing 82. Like there might be a little bit of lingering rain, whatever it might be, but a little bit of wind. Like this is just the spot to, I would say what the Mets on the money line right now for the second game, like minus 102 is a pretty good price on the Mets team, which we can say are better. They may not be playing like their best baseball right now. The Orioles are certainly playing better now compared to where they were in, let's call it April or May, but a depleted bullpen for the Orioles in game 2 with at least some type of positive hitting weather. I'll take the Mets and the over. Game 2 specifically, obviously.
10.5, that total for that second game between the O's and the Mets. Vecchio, we'll continue to break down some baseball on the other side. As you look up and down the card, you talked about weather factors. Are there any other spots in our 11-game Thursday slate around the bigs you want to highlight?
Yeah, I like the Mariners on the money line. We're getting a really fair price from them, minus 108. We talked about in the opening game that we broke down between the Diamondbacks and the Padres, like, the pitching differential. Yeah. We're getting a minus 108 on both sides for the Mariners and the Yankees. Like, Brian Wu is a significantly better pitcher compared to Marcus Stroman. Now, the issue is that the Yankees lineup is very good. They're at home. We can see the home runs as we saw yesterday. But if there's any time to get a decent line against the Yankees, it's probably this with a really good pitcher on the other side.
Stroman back in the starting staff now for New York. His third start since his return, had been on the shelf since the middle of April. Really bad in his first 3 starts. Pretty solid so far in his first 2 back for the Pinstripes. DRS, enjoy Moneyline, my friend. We'll talk tomorrow on a Friday. Vecchio and I round out this Thursday next.
That is the idea. It really is for in-game live. Have you said it? The whole team who's a double-digit or close to it anyway favorite and get off to a bad start and actually have them trailing by 5, 6, 7 to the point where you get it at pick'em. And I don't know how many times. I'd like to know a stat of how many times a team that's been favored by double digits, trailed by double digits, and actually won the game. I bet it's a lot.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
You've got issues up and down here. The bullpen is falling apart, to put it nicely. And have you seen the schedule for the Yankees for the rest of the month of July here? We have Seattle, then we have the Cubs, then you have Atlanta, then you have Toronto again in Toronto. That really didn't go all that well this week. And then you have Philadelphia and Tampa. Good luck to the Yankees in July here.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Connect's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Connect, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Connect 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Time for the Blue Jays to really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking to be in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. It's really bad. Now the past couple weeks, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that weren't household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
TV Tom Vecchio is still here, but a quick update from the championships Wimbledon. Our first spot in the women's final up for grabs as we speak. And when we gave you the update just at the start of one of our most recent segments, it was the number 1 seed Aryna Sabalenka who dropped the opening set to the American, the 13th seed Amanda Anisimova, but had rallied in the second set to force that decisive third set, had taken the opening game. But Anisimova has stormed back. She leads 4-1 in the third and final. We are tied at 30 all. Sabalenka on serve here, but Anisimova very close, Tom Vecchio, to getting to the Wimbledon women's final. How about that? Some tennis in a big way. Semifinal Friday for the men tomorrow. Iga Swiatek and Belinda Bencic in our second semifinal on this Thursday at the All England Club. All right, Vecchio, outside of our 11-game slate on this Thursday in Major League Baseball, of course, we've got 4 more days before the All-Star break comes our way to end out some of these midweek sets today, to start a few weekend sets like we have in Boston between the Red Sox and the Rays, in Chicago between the White Sox and the Guardians. So as we near the All-Star break, I want to ask you from the prop perspective, perhaps, about the NL Cy Young Awards. We have seen a large change in the last 48 hours. Zach Wheeler, the Phillies ace, now the odds-on favorite. At the end of the weekend, Paul Skeens, the ace of the Pittsburgh Pirates, was the odds-on minus money favorite. But Wheeler becomes that odds-on favorite after a straw poll around the league, GM saying, hey, he would be our Cy Young winner at this moment. What do you make of the NL Cy Young race right now as we near that All-Star break?
I have been talking about Wheeler when he was plus money, that it should have been much closer than it was when Skeens was up at, minus 200, minus 150. And I've been, I don't want to say, rallying for Zach Wheeler, but a lot of what he is doing is comparable and or better than Skeens. When we're looking at the innings, they're the same, but Zach Wheeler has 21 more strikeouts or 25 plus more strikeouts compared to Skeens in the exact same amount of innings pitched. He has fewer walks compared to Skeens. You look at their F WAR, their B WAR, whatever you want to look at, Wheeler has closed the gap and or tied him. Now, we don't want to obviously look at wins and losses. We know that. We've kind of established that when DeGrom won the Cy Youngs, but there is something to be said that Wheeler is going out there doing the exact same things. And I don't want to say that there's like recency bias in some capacity when he finished, in the top last year, but it's like, hey, he's doing the same thing he did last year.
Yeah.
He's doing it again this year. We can kind of vote for him this year despite the hype that Paul Skeens brings. So I will say you missed the boat on Zach Wheeler. Like I was talking to Craig Mish a couple weeks ago about Zach Wheeler at 2-1. Now, I'm not saying 2-1 is a fantastic price, but it is better than minus 140.
The reigning AL Cy Young winner is Tarek Skubal for the best team in baseball, that being the Detroit Tigers. Minus 420, Skubal's price, Vecchio, to win the Cy Young Award in the American League. Has he already won it? Are they starting to etch his name on the trophy once again? Or could we find some value after the All-Star break in this market?
I think it's all wrapped up. And I've had this thought for quite a while where I've been debating Kevin Walsh on this topic for a couple months at this point where, Skubal is doing things this year that he did last year to a better extent. And when you see pitchers breaking records or like, oh, it's the first pitcher since 1970 or 1960 to have X amount of strikeouts and it's such a low percentage of walks in, 50 years, 60 years, whatever it might be. Part of the Cy Young is also a narrative-driven award where if he's doing the same things he did last year and they have a potential to make him a repeat champion, like that is going to garner attention. And there's a human element to people voting on Cy Young. And because the Cy Young is, again, narrative, we're going to see DeGrom move up. If he continues to pitch well, DeGrom's odds will shorten just because there's a narrative there that he may not be as good as Skubal, but he will garner some percentage of the votes. But Skubal ultimately is the best pitcher in basically every category you could possibly want to analytically or at the service level say who's the best pitcher in the league. It's Tarek Skubal.
And the Tigers are the best team in Major League Baseball. Best record at this juncture. Quickly, Vecchio, we'll have you back on Monday to really get ready for the Home Run Derby in Atlanta. But of the 6 guys listed competing in the Derby on Monday night, you are the home run prop king. Who you taking an early look at in the field so far?
It's not Buxton. He got hit on the hand last night, and to be determined if I don't think he's going to play today. But O'Neal Cruz is interesting just because of obviously the bat speed. He's always one of the highest in the league. But again, on Monday we will break down the path to them getting there. It's not just about like, who has the best odds. If they can win that first round matchup, can they be in the spot to win the second round matchup and then advance to the finals?
For sure, we will break it all down come Monday. But Vecchio, until then, always appreciate the time, my friend. Thanks for being here on this Thursday on the early line. You are the best. That does it for us. Ending out these 3 hours. We're back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern on a Friday on the Grid.
The idea really is for in-game live. Have you said it? The home team who's a double-digit or close to it anyway favorite and get off to a bad start and actually have them trailing by 5, 6, 7 to the point where you get it at pick'em. And I don't know how many times. I'd like to know a stat of how many times a team that's been favored by double digits, trailed by double digits, and actually won the game. I bet it's a lot.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
You've got issues up and down here. The bullpen is falling apart, to put it nicely. And have you seen the schedule for the Yankees for the rest of the month of July here? We have Seattle, then we have the Cubs, then you have Atlanta, then you have Toronto again in Toronto. That really didn't go all that well this week. And then you have Philadelphia and Tampa. Good luck to the Yankees in July here.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10 plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Time for the Blue Jays to really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking to be in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, like, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. Like, it's really bad. Now, the past couple weeks, like, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going like, ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that weren't household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on